Fabs was skating real good. I thought he had good jump. I thought he did a good job in his D zone. I thought same with Z and Vladdy. So I thought, I thought it was real noticeable. I was on the red bench in the first period, and that line was certainly real noticeable there. And then I switched to the white bench, and I thought they maintained it through most of the game. So, a real good job by them.
Just given the emphasis on getting scoring beyond the Larkin line, how good is it to see, even if it is just a scrimmage?
Well, I think that fact they were dangerous in the scrimmage, is important. I think we need more lines. I've said that lots. You guys know that. Our guys know that. And so I think the fact that they could be impactful in a scrimmage is good. I mean, obviously, come Thursday, it'll be a different animal a bit, but certainly all they can control is what the setting is and then play great within the setting. And they did a great job of that. And I thought both teams were competing. It wasn't like it was a summer hockey game. I thought it looked like a real enough game. And I thought those guys did a good job.
Thank you.
Next up, Ansar Khan with MLive.
Yeah, Jeff, talking a little bit about Zadina a couple times where he stole the puck, just that part of his game, playing without the puck. Do you see improvement there in camp so far this season?
Yeah, I think going back to just watching him play over in the Czech League, I thought his puck battles were real good, and I think it's carried forward, and I think he's put a real emphasis on leveraging his body, winning those stick battles. I mean, he had a number of takeaways. He must have had 4 or 5 takeaways tonight where he stripped guys of the puck, and because of that, then he can play offense. I think he's learned, how important it is to be a guy who goes and gets the puck himself and not wait for other guys to do that. And I think over the last 2 years, he's done that. I think our development group's done a really good job, and I think Ben Simon and GR's done a good job, and I think he's really taken it upon himself to make sure he's better in those areas. If you win pucks, you get the puck more, and you get to play way more offense. So he's done a good job with that.
Also, what your impressions of Gracie, especially early on? He seemed to make a lot of real good point-blank saves, and just having a guy like that now with Bernier. You might have talked about this before, but especially during a season like this where it's condensed, just the importance of having two guys going in net.
Well, I think it's goaltending's critical. It's going to be critical this year, like it is every year, and I think having 2 guys gives you it just lessens the responsibility on one individual. And I think both guys have proven that they can go through stints of being really, really good, and have had stretches where they've been really good in the NHL. And well, I think we're going to need both guys. We're going to need both guys going at a high level. And I think Greiser's come in. He looks real calm. He's real unflappable guy. Nothing seems to bother him. And I thought he did make a number of big saves early. And then I thought Bernie made a number of big saves when it got to 3-0 to keep it there and give his team a chance to claw back into it. So I thought both guys showed pretty well tonight.
Thanks.
Next question from Ted Copeland with the Detroit News.
Hey, Jeff, are we seeing how versatile Nemestikhanov can be here? I mean, it seems like you plugged him in a couple of different areas here, and he's come in and done a pretty good job, however way he's used.
Yeah, no question. I think he's a guy who, over his time in the NHL, and he's told me this, is really focused on being a good two-way player, not just relying on his offense, but, he was a first rounder for a reason. He's got good offense, and he looks like a real complete player who can do a lot of things and do them pretty well. And he's pretty smart. I love smart hockey players. In the chaos of all the action out there, smart players that can make good decisions, I think, are critical. And that would be, probably my number one attribute I look for, and he's got that. So, I've been impressed with him, and certainly, as you said, I think the versatility is a real bonus for our lineup. I think he can go in a situation where he's matched up against other teams' best lines in a checking type role, and I think he can play up the lineup with in an offensive type role. So again, he's done a good job.
And offensively, like you said, I think he has scored 20 goals a couple times in his career. So, I mean, he's another guy that could probably supply something in that regard for your team, no question.
Yeah, he's really good around the net. He's really good around the net. That's an area that I think he's been able to really find a way to be real good in those areas, tipping pucks, those types of things. So, he's again, I do think he can add some offensive scoring depth to our lineup, in a accountable way and the type of way that you need guys to be to win.
Jeff, those guys that are unfit to play, is it getting a little antsy here as far as them coming into the lineup Thursday or what?
Well, the guys that have been out for a while, when you're unfit to play for a long time, those guys won't be ready for Thursday. That's just the reality of being out. I think the longer guys are out, the harder it will be. But I don't have any total determination until we get closer to Thursday. Let's see where guys are at tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, Max Boltman with The Athletic.
Hey, Jeff, going back to the goalies for a minute, are you planning a pretty equal, I'm sure the season will dictate to some degree, but going in, are you planning a pretty equal split between these two, or do you feel like you want to have a kind of a number one guy here?
No, I'd like to get both of them going, get both of them going at a high level. And then, if one guy really outplays the other guy, then we'll make that decision at the time. But, I'm not necessarily going to back myself in the corner in terms of the exact set schedule, but I think they're both going to get a good chance here in the early part of the season to get going.
And then on a couple of the younger guys, Giovanni Smith and Dennis Chalowski, what have you seen from them in these 2 weeks, and what would you like to see from them, as the season gets going here?
Well, I thought both guys today was their best game. I thought both guys did a good job tonight. Gio, started off a little bit struggled with a couple penalties, but then I thought Giovanni did a real good job as the game went along and made some good plays. And I thought Dennis in the first scrimmage started slow, but he played better tonight. So, let's see where the lineup's at. Let's see where we make decisions on that. And both guys got to control what they can control, and that's their play and their effort every day. What
does it take to get a bench minor in a scrimmage?
The guy running the whole thing on the other bench.
Got it. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Next question from Art Ragnar with DetroitRedWings.com.
Hi, Jeff. I'm kind of curious. Can you take us through the itinerary after tomorrow? Do you have to submit the 23-man roster by a certain time on Tuesday? Will that also include a taxi squad? And then the guys that will be slated for GR, do they go to GR? Do they stay here in Detroit? Have you figured that out yet?
We've had conversations. To be honest with you, Art, the timeline of it, I haven't even looked at. We've just been focusing on our camp right now. So, I know we got to practice tomorrow, so I don't want to go a whole bunch further than that right now. In terms of what the taxi squad will look like or what guys will do, I've had conversations with Steve. That's an organizational decision that we'll make, as we move forward. So you guys will get that information as soon as we make those decisions.
And finally, Michael Rasmussen scored a goal in front of the net. We've talked about his hand-eye coordination, his ability in front of the net. Can you comment on his game and his camp thus far?
Well, that's certainly the strength of his game is, around the net. And I think, the last couple scrimmages I played him at wing, I still think long-term I'd want him to be a center for him to make the biggest impact 5-on-5. But we'll see how that goes. If he can become a big centerman who's rangy, who's quick, who can end plays, defend against the other team's best, then I think he's a big-time asset 5-on-5. I think he'll always be a guy who's good around the net. I think he'll always be a guy who does a good job with that. And that's a big deal. So, it's like every other young player, there's a different timeline for each guy, and we'll see how his progresses here as the year goes on.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Art.
We'll wrap up today with Woody Woodruff from Fox 2.
Coach, how are you? Thanks a lot for doing this. Art kind of stole a lot of my thunder, but I'd like to ask this question. The decision-making moving forward until up to Wednesday, are you agonizing over decisions now? Like, oh, man, I wish one guy had done more, or are you still looking for some of that to come through in the practice sessions leading up to Wednesday?
Well, I think, my plan right now is as soon as I leave you guys here, we'll go back in our room and I'll have, further discussions with our coaching staff and our management and Steve and start to pare down what we think the roster is going to look like come Wednesday. Start to make those decisions on taxi squad and those types of things. Start to, or continue, I should say, continue to have those conversations and, based on the information that we got tonight, and then we're going to see where guys are at with injuries, with the guys that are unfit to play, where they're at, and then we'll kind of combine it all, and walk out of here tonight with a good idea, go through practice tomorrow, and hopefully have made a lot of decisions. We have Tuesday off, so you know, by the time we get to Wednesday, we're going to have our team and get ready to play Carolina.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all again tomorrow.